Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Host Eddie Frederick.
Welcome to Caribbean Perspective. So glad you can join us. The story that dominates in today's edition for Wednesday, 5th October 2025, and brought to you in association with our friends at Antillean Group. U.S. strikes against suspected narco-trafficking boats off Venezuela reach 15. Details after this important message.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all, perils big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so glad to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
Welcome back. The United States military has carried out its 15th strike in the ongoing campaign against regional drug cartels. These actions continue to receive the backing of Trinidad and Tobago's government. Jewel Brown of TV6 News reports.
U.S. War Secretary Pete Hegseth announced on Facebook that at the direction of the U.S. President Donald Trump, the U.S. Department of War carried out a lethal kinetic strike on another narco-trafficking vessel operated by a designated terrorist organization in the Caribbean. The U.S. War Secretary said that, quote, this vessel, like every other, was known by our intelligence to be involved in illicit narcotics smuggling, was transiting along a known narco-trafficking route and carrying narcotics. 3 male narco-terrorists were aboard the vessel during the strike, which was conducted in international waters. All 3 terrorists were killed and no U.S. forces were harmed in this strike, end quote. The U.S. War Secretary emphasized that the U.S. Department of War will treat them exactly how the U.S. treated Al-Qaeda, as he said, quote, we will continue to track them, map them, hunt them, and kill them, end quote. CNN is reporting that the U.S. military has killed 64 people in 15 strikes that have destroyed 16 boats as part of a campaign that Washington says is aimed at curtailing the flow of drugs into the United States. CNN has also reported that there have been 3 survivors of those strikes, 2 of whom were briefly detained by the U.S. Navy before being returned to their home countries. Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro has claimed the recent buildup of the U.S. military in the Caribbean is aimed at regime change in Venezuela. The U.S. government has maintained that the recent U.S. military strikes in the Caribbean Sea and the Eastern Pacific are about the U.S. war on drug cartels, which has received the full support of the government of Trinidad and Tobago, led by Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar. Jewel Brown, TV6 News.
Yannick Williams of TVJ News reports that the UK has provided necessary assistance in Jamaica's recovery.
Well-needed relief supplies. This time it's courtesy of the UK government. British High Commissioner to Jamaica, Alicia Herbert, says an additional £5 million in aid has been allocated to assist with recovery efforts in the Caribbean. Shelter kits and solar-powered lanterns are among the items for distribution.
What we're seeing here, the first shipment of shelter kits, providing cover, providing shelter for those who've lost their homes, for example, as well as we have been deploying experts working alongside the Jamaican government in order to ensure we've got a coordinated and effective response.
In addition to Jamaica, countries like Haiti and Cuba were also hard hit by Melissa.
We're going to be working through a range of other organizations, such as the World Food Programme, such as the Red Cross as well, in order to strengthen the response and to work with Jamaica and the Jamaican government to ensure that this country begins to recover from what has been quite a catastrophic impact of Hurricane Melissa.
In the meantime, Jamaica's Foreign Affairs Minister, Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith, says the assistance is timely.
Donations from partners help us to supplement the fiscal resilience and the economic provisions that have been made for disaster response to ensure that the best possible result can be obtained as we rebuild. So this is a supplement to the work that we have been doing to strengthen our economy. It is a partnership that shows that we are all in the climate fight together. We are all seeking to ensure that we're more resilient. As we like to say, me and my CARICOM colleagues, we can't pick up our islands and go anywhere else. We're here. It's the second most vulnerable region in the world.
Yannick Williams, TVJ News.
A vast majority of Jamaicans are still without electricity, telephone service and water following the passage of Hurricane Melissa. Barbados' Minister of Energy and Business, Lisa Cummings, has announced that the Barbados Light and Power Company Limited, BLPC, is sending a team to the devastated nation as well as to the Bahamas. She was addressing the Energy Month church service on Sunday morning at the Power in the Blood Assembly, Tudor Bridge, St. Michael. CBC's Anesta Henry has more on that story.
Close to 500,000 customers, representing 72% of the Jamaica Public Service customer base, remain without power after Hurricane Melissa uprooted poles and downed power lines. Minister of Energy and Business Lisa Cummings says the Barbados Light and Power Company Limited is sending a technical team to Jamaica to help restore electricity to affected areas.
The Barbados Light and Power Company, who is here with us, has been anchoring the region to be able to go down to Jamaica to assist them with the recovery of their electricity systems so that they have energy again to power their nation. And I want to acknowledge that work.
As Barbados embarks on Energy Month, Minister Cummings is reminding Barbadians that energy transformation remains at the center of national development.
And in the midst, we sit. And I don't want to talk energy this morning in my very brief remarks, but I want to say that God has positioned his instruments, all of us as Christians, in positions of influence in our nation for such a time as this. And all that he's pouring into us, he expects us to pour out so that we are able to effect change, to effect transformation, to bring that stillness, that quietness, and to be able to influence policy as the nations go through what is right up ahead.
Energy Month 2025 has been themed Invest, Innovate, Sustain, leading the charge in renewable energy frontiers. Anesta Henry, CBC News.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick, in association with our friends at
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Haitians are still dealing with flooding and destruction after Hurricane Melissa ravaged parts of the Caribbean. Jacqueline Charles of Miami Herald's Haiti reporter joins CBS News with more.
So Jacqueline, you understand how hard Melissa hit the island. What does it look like this morning?
Well, yesterday they weren't able to get out because of the weather. But in the South, they are still digging themselves out from under this storm, even though Haiti did not get a direct hit. But we have to remember this is a country that's very vulnerable. It was raining for over 8 days. Houses have been washed out. Among the 30 dead are 10 children who were killed when a river jumped its banks in a coastal town, Petit Guave. And of course, the food situation. We already had almost half of the Haitian population not finding enough to eat, going hungry. And now this is going to add to that because a lot of the farms in the southern region of the country have been submerged under floodwaters.
Wow. So this is a country, as you know, that struggles under the best of days. What is recovery going to look like? How are people going to get the critical food, water, supplies that they need?
That's a very good question. I was just there last year. This is a region of the country that's completely cut off from the capital because of armed gangs. Roads have been cut off because of this storm. It's already difficult to get there by road. It's dangerous. It's expensive. There's only one helicopter, it's the World Food Program helicopter, and every couple of months they're having funding issues. The UN is doing the best they can, but they're in a financial crisis. So it's going to be a lot, because while they have been sheltered to some degree from the gang violence, they've been suffering as far as the humanitarian crisis is concerned. And now that suffering is going to get even worse, because if they were able to be a little self-sufficient, now imagine no crops. Your homes have been destroyed. Schools have been destroyed. You already have a country where healthcare was on the brink of collapse because people have fled, or you can't get medication in. There are no U.S. flights into this country directly from Miami, other than a Haitian-owned company. So this is really not a good thing for Haiti, unfortunately, for the percentage of the people who were still sheltered from the gang violence, and all that it has brought. Now they too are battling this disaster.
It is just horrible. Jacqueline, thank you for all the reporting that you do. And
Leader of the People's National Congress Reform, PNCR in Guyana, and veteran foreign affairs expert Aubrey Norton has called on the government to strengthen border security and regional cooperation in light of rising concerns over illegal crossings, trafficking, and the recent terror attack at Saul Station in Georgetown. Norton, who spent more than 2 decades at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, stressed that Guyana's porous borders, especially along the Cuyuni and Winamu rivers, remain vulnerable to arms trafficking and infiltration by non-state actors. He urged the government to work more closely with Caribbean and Latin American partners to reinforce surveillance and law enforcement efforts. Antonio Day of HGP Nightly News has more.
During the 12th sitting of the National Assembly, politicians like Amanzo Walton Desir and leader of the People's National Congress Reform, Aubrey Norton, had persistently urged the government to improve monitoring of undocumented immigrants in Guyana. In the aftermath of the tragic explosion at the Saul gas station on Regent Street, Georgetown, which claimed a child's life, the suspect, a Venezuelan national, has confessed, according to the Ghanaian police force. While acknowledging the complexities surrounding this confession, Mr. Norton is urging the government to adopt a more proactive approach to border security and surveillance.
That we need a proper system to check every Venezuelan that is coming. You don't want to be anti-Venezuelan, but at the same time, you don't want the Venezuelan government to put their operatives in here.
In a recent interview with Nightly News, Norton, a former official at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, emphasized the importance of reviewing Ghana's immigration policy.
There should be proper scrutiny of Venezuelans. There also should be proper monitoring of those who are suspected of being linked to the government and carrying out the government of Venezuela activity. But the question of Venezuela is a much wider question. We need a proper immigration policy, not only for Venezuelans, for all persons coming.
Mr. Norton also highlighted the necessity of embracing a multinationalism approach in addressing national concerns. He underscored the significance of fostering collaborative relations with nations in Latin America and the Caribbean, stressing that regional leaders must be willing to offer their support. The PNCR leader raised concerns about the current perception of the Ghanaian police force regarding credibility and reliability amidst these challenges and circumstances.
If people don't trust the top of the police force, if there are all these rumors about bribery and corruption, then how do you know Venezuelans won't bribe them and corrupt them? So it's a combination of measures. It's not one act. And critical to that is developing a credible police force with a credible leadership so that the citizenry believes what is coming out to the police.
He emphasized that the public must have confidence in law enforcement agencies, reassuring citizens that their safety is a priority. Antonio Day reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean.
In the meantime, please follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for daily regional news and more, in association with our friends at Antillian Group.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so glad to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We opportunity.
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.